So, folks, we got to talk about the fact that essentially the Trump administration is trying to do cuts to SNAP and any food assistance federal programs that may exist because they're evil ghouls. And they think that they can, in fact, get away with cutting off food assistance to everyday working Americans and simultaneously steal the healthcare that keeps millions of people in this country alive. We're talking like 10 million plus people alive. And so, the thing that people need to eat in order to stay alive, as well as the healthcare they need to have in order to stay alive, those are both, as you might imagine, pretty important factors in the entire conversation. And I do want to say credit to some outlets and journalists out there who are still willing to stand up and tell the truth, okay? Because Rolling Stone over here, Congress enjoys ultra-lux health care as it fights to gut yours. This is the kind of this is the kind of fight we need to see in mainstream media outlets. It doesn't mince words here. Like, Republicans want to strip healthcare from Americans so badly they've shut down the government. Which, like, it's the 27th. This should be this should have been the story on day one. This should have been the story day one. You know? And the fact that it's not is a pretty big indictment against the Democrats. But not only that, most mainstream media is pretty complicit with this shutdown. Here's Mike Johnson talking about the reasons for the shutdown.
The Democrats are required to open the government. They keep saying Republicans are in charge of government. We aren't, not in the Senate. 60 votes control the Senate, not a bare majority. And so point number one, Democrat votes are required to open the government.
This motherfucker is standing up in front of the entire country in order to essentially say, no, the Republicans don't control all the branches of government. No. You see, in this one specific instance, Republicans don't have a supermajority in the Senate, and therefore we don't control the government. It's absurd. It's absurd. You have majorities in the Senate, in the House, and you have a majority in the judicial branch, on the Supreme Court. You have the presidency. You control the entirety of our current political system. And to say, oh no, in this case, the Democrats actually really control the Senate when you're the Senate majority leader. No, sorry. John Thune is the Senate majority leader. Mike Johnson here is the majority leader in the House for the Republicans. Man, this isn't the Democrats doing this. This isn't the Democrats have shut down the government. This is Republicans have gutted your healthcare and are coming for your Social Security, and they're gutting your SNAP benefits and food assistance programs writ large, and they're trying to place the blame on Democrats. And no one in this room, Mike Johnson is delivering this address to a room full of ostensibly journalists, and not a single one of them asks, hey, who's in charge of the House? Which political party controls each three branches of government? Just basic questions, basic follow-up questions would actually, solve this. But none of the voices in that room are willing to speak up. They are kowtowing to power rather than to truth. It is an indictment against our entire system. And so understand that one of the things that we are currently facing down is that SNAP benefits on November 1st are going to be cut off. And so a lot of folks aren't going to get the money they need for the food they need for their families. And this is going to be a huge problem. It's already, I can see it affecting members of this community already. And what we all need to do is that we need to start reaching out to our local pillars of support, whether that is, local government, state government, even, in order to try and influence them to do stuff. I would recommend calling your mayor and call your state level representatives as well as your governor and tell them, hey, we need help. What are you going to do for your constituents? I need to feed my family. And we need to make sure that the people who are ostensibly in charge of our various states, of our various cities, we need to make sure that they understand that there is a growing need for them to provide the most basic thing in your community, food. And there is, even if you are not someone who relies on SNAP or like any kind of federal assistance for food, folks, be ready to step up in this next week or so to join your local orgs that are fighting hunger in your communities, whether it's a food bank or some kind of outreach project. Like, make sure you are thinking about how to incorporate food into your community action, And I think that can affect a lot of knock-on things. Maybe take this as an opportunity to push for like free meals at school. For the kids, free breakfast, lunch at school. All right. Folks need to start getting more ingrained and used to making those asks and demands on the local and state level. Okay. And there are going to be folks who don't know how to do that. Help them get onboarded and help them start taking those actions as well. Because don't underestimate, especially like we're used to now as a community calling our national level representatives, the folks in Congress or in the House and the Senate. We're not so used to calling our local and state level elected officials. And I can guarantee you guys, your calls hit harder on the local level because they're getting less calls, generally speaking. So we need to start, especially in the government shutdown, you need to start looking around at different orgs in the local area. Queer community centers or just community centers in general are a good place. Libraries are a good place to reach out or to see if you can develop some kind of food assistance program with your local library. Often you'll find some that are game to engage with you in that way. There are a lot of different things you can do, and it's time to start looking around to see what you can do. I will say it is possible to influence your governments, right? For example, here's Tim Walz talking about the importance of helping Minnesotans get food. He's announced $4 million in emergency spending for food shelves here in Minnesota. And my response to that is, that's great. That is not going to cover what is necessary in the current moment. Like we need more. And like what a lot of politicians are trying to do is virtue signal only, but we need to like combine the virtue signal with actual movement of resources, because virtue signaling doesn't feed families. And we need our local and state level politicians to be willing to get out there and actually take action for folks on the ground. And credit where credit is due, Tim Walz went and did a day stocking shelves at food banks. Let's just take a look.
We make food available. The network on these shifts to make sure that they're... Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. Jason, thank you to everyone here at Open Door. Thank you to Rachel and the food group. You're going to hear from Commissioner Brown for Children, Youth, and Family. You're going to hear, there's legislators up here, mayors, and 1,000 volunteers that'll come through here and work at any given time on these shifts to make sure that their neighbors have enough food. It is not a privilege to have food. It's a human right to have food. And in the most abundant food supply of any country on earth in the United States, and us being at the heart of that heartland of food production, it's absolutely unnecessary for people to go hungry. And we have made an effort. We as Minnesotans have made a concerted effort to make sure that
Why is the audio always scuffed? C-SPAN does not prioritize audio.
Food security is a priority, whether it's breakfast and lunch for all of our children, whether it's increasing the child tax credit to make sure they have that, increasing MFIB, and making sure that we're able to deliver it as quickly as possible. The network of folks who work in food security is nothing short of amazing across this state. And be very, very clear, I had some statistics here for you that maybe 9 million visits a year in Minnesota. We have over 440,000 Minnesotans needing SNAP benefits. And just so those folks out there who want to get a Grinchy hard-on or something, 38% of them are children and 18% are seniors. And so just to be very clear, this is across every geographic aspect of Minnesota, in fact, disproportionately in greater Minnesota. And these are benefits that allow people to be able to feed their family and go on with their life with that little bit of extra. So I'm here to say thank you to all the people who work on this. I'm here to say thank you for the folks who make this system work. And I'm here along with Jason to encourage folks to get back together. We're here today to announce we're using our contingency accounts to add $4 million to the food banks across Minnesota. This will be a bridge. I want to be very clear. It will not make up and backfill everything that is going to drop off starting on Saturday. We do not have that capacity. But I would say again, we put out about $74 million a month in SNAP benefits, just so you know the scope and the scale of this. Those are Minnesota tax dollars that went to the federal government. Again, one of a handful of states that pays more in than we get back. I want to be very clear. USDA, during this shutdown, has contingency funds that they could release just like us. They are choosing not to. They are choosing not to. And I can paint any damn picture you want for you. They're paying contractors to tear down the East Wing, but they're not putting money into the food bank that they're setting on. So if there's a sense of frustration in America, it's very real. And
I think this is, by the way, a really important way for us to talk about what is happening right now on the national level. Because that's a great point that I have not really heard that much about when we take a look at just like what's happening in Washington, which is the very real point he's making here, which is that SNAP doesn't have to be unfunded at this particular point in time, because the USDA could, in fact, release a slew of funds in order to actually make sure people continue to eat in this country. And the fact that they are not prioritizing that and are instead wantonly choosing to make the broader public of America suffer, like, that's a deliberate choice. And it's a choice being made not by Democrats, not by any progressives, not by the fringe socialists like Mamdani. Oh God, I'm doing it now too. Mamdani. But it's actually the Trump administration. Gasp! Shock! Horror! Yeah, who could have thought? The lying pack of grifters that got voted into power are lying and grifting as they speak.
Usually we start to do these things as we get nearer to Thanksgiving and we start to bring it to attention. We don't need a holiday to tell you that food insecurity is real. That
it's okay. I know that the fringe socialists like Mamdani and I are actually closer to where the majority of Americans are.
the system that we've developed keeps people out of poverty, keeps them out of hunger, improves their quality of life, improves their health, and lets them participate in our society. And when this risk comes, it puts a lot of children, a lot of seniors, and a lot of folks with disabilities at risk by a choice. They are choosing not to fund these programs. They are choosing to prioritize. And when the White House press secretary said the top priority is the ballroom, we could not disagree more. Our top priority is the well-being of the Minnesotans, especially around food security, home heating assistance, and the things that we know Minnesota does really well. So I'm here to say thank you to all these volunteers, to make the note that we're putting this money in that was bridge us. But the solution to this is, one, end the shutdown and go back to work. Two, quit scapegoating people who are hungry and making up stories that are not true. And do your job. Because I'm a little bit irritated, and I'll just say it. When I was in Congress, there was a government shutdown. I donated my check to the Open Door in Rochester. I would make a challenge to some folks. If you're getting paid and folks are going hungry, something's wrong. So end this thing now. Minnesotans know and care. The number of volunteers across this state is nothing short of just inspiring, and I'm just incredibly grateful. So Jason, Open Door, thanks for having us. To the network of folks who make this happen, to the mayors, to the representatives who have funded consistently food programs in Minnesota.
The USDA has a bunch of money, like literally billions of dollars sitting around for emergencies. And what the Republican-run USDA is doing right now is basically saying, oh, but we couldn't possibly use the contingency fund because it's for natural disasters and not government shutdowns. That would be illegal. Like, that's what they're doing. Like, even though they have previously argued that they should be able to use contingency funding as they see fit, even during a government shutdown. So, like, there's precedent for this to be spent during the government shutdown. They are simply choosing not to do it to be spiteful pricks. That's really what it boils down to. I mean, also, it's not just to really hammer things home here. This was a piece on Zeteo recently, and I think it really gets to the heart of it. Trump to the poor, let them eat ballroom. Millions of Americans are about to lose food aid from the government, but the man in charge is so focused on his MAGA Saddam multi-million-dollar White House ballroom. Like, I mean, this sums it up, right? Let them eat ballroom. Like, let them eat balls is really the message of the current Trump government. They think that, like, the pain is going to flip the American public against the Democrats, but at no point during this shutdown has anywhere close to a majority of folks blamed Democrats for the shutdown. It is, like, especially with headlines you're getting like this, like, people are coming around to the idea that, oh, Republicans are wanting to do this. They want to do this, and they want to actually charge us more because a critical thing is about to start happening come November 1st. And that is that a bunch of people are about to look at their projected healthcare bills for next year. Starting November 1st is the enrollment period for all those folks who are in insurance. And we are seeing a lot of bills that are going to be very, very difficult for folks to pay. Here's the Chicago Tribune here, just a quick headline. Illinois residents to see 78% average cost increase for Affordable Care Act exchange plans if subsidies expire. Like, a lot of folks can't pay a 78% increase on their health insurance premium. Like, we're talking paying 78% more every month. Like, people don't have that money. People don't have the ability to do that. And, like, they're going to start looking and they're going to be like, wait a minute. You want to increase my premiums by like 78%. Wait a minute. Like, I'm getting ripped off. Like, what you're about to see, especially because the shutdown is now seeming like it's going to go through this week because of Mike Johnson shutting down the House. I mean, like, it looks to me like we're about to see a lot of people getting a pretty rude awakening in a way that radicalizes them against Republicans. Yeah, exactly, Werix. This is why Dems need to like hold strong. And honestly, there is a case for like continuing to hold it shut until like this administration has a level of accountability, you know? And so we'll see. But like, we're about to step into some pretty unusual territory, which is that one of the main strengths of the United States of America has typically been that people are able to feed themselves. You know, the economy and economic productivity of this country has been such that people generally have been able to eat. And in the cases where that has not been true, you know, the government has been able to step in somewhat in order to help people do that. And we're about to see the mass failure of that system. And you can say, well, it wasn't really working that great before. True. but we're about to see the mass failure of the system that wasn't working that great. And yeah, the bread and circuses require bread. Exactly, Hero. And so I don't really know what happens when the folks who rely on SNAP stop getting that. I don't know. Because historically, the folks who have most relied on that in order to get by have been rural, generally Republican voters. And like, I mean, it has the capacity to like evaporate and just erase small town like America writ large. It like this, depending on how long it goes on, of course, you know? And like, we just saw the single largest mass mobilization protest in US history. And like, I think people are going to remember who starved them. And I don't think that they're going to be blaming the Democrats for this when they are also looking at their health insurance and seeing, hey, who's the political party that cut my health insurance? I wonder. So, like, all of this to say, we are on a precipice of some really unprecedented political times here in the United States of America. And yet history's pulse is getting quicker. Disaster Suplex really sums it up quite a bit. And yes, we are still indeed in the cool zone, Super Chat guy.
2026 and 2028, if Dems were even remotely competent, would be snap elections.
No, like, but like, unironically though, this should be the bedrock. Like, Donald Trump is trying to starve you. Is trying to starve the working people of America. Like, the fact that he's still in power is insane. Even just suggesting a course of action that would lead to this is insane. Yeah, Mike Johnson is like aligning himself to starve people and gouge folks on their healthcare premiums and keeping the government shut down in order to protect like a bunch of pedophiles. Like, and that's not even hyperbole. That's just what is happening right now. It's crazy. The entire Republican apparatus came together as one to defend pedophiles and to like tax the American public unilaterally and to like functionally just destroy the ability of everyday working people to show up at their job. Like, this is the meme of like the guy sawing off the branch he's sitting on in the tree. You know, like we're watching self-destruction writ large by a fascist movement. Yeah, starving kids to protect pedos, but they care about saving the children. Yeah, something tells me they didn't really care about saving the children. Good night, Gamer G. And Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. But, folks, all this to say, get on the phones to call your mayor and your governor, at the very least. Mayor, local elected representatives, and governor, all right? See what they can do for you. It is worthwhile to put political pressure on these lower offices to see how well they can keep us safe during these trying times. Because we're going to see a lot of people's true natures come out as we get closer to going to the mat with this fascist movement, right? And so, yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at. You got to get involved in your community. You got to start donating. You got to start getting involved because folks
Jack,
are really
I think I'm gonna tap out. I'll catch the rest of the stream later. Good night, y'all. To all a good stream.
Good night, Nathan. Get good sleep. And thank you for the $5 dono. And folks, that's kind of where we're at. We have to see what's going to happen, but it's not looking great. And if you've gotten anything out of this segment, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That we're moving on.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.